Ron earns $12 an hour on weekdays and twice as much on weekends. Ron works 8 hours a day on weekdays and 5 hours a day on Saturdays and Sundays. How much will he earn in 2 weeks if he works every day? Right, there are a couple of approaches we could take, both of which are perfectly valid. The difficulty with this question is there are quite a lot of calculations to do, and as with any multi-step word problem, you just need to be careful at every stage that are that you know what it is you've just calculated and how it fits into the next bit. And you have to see, have I finished the question? Have I answered it? Or is my answer just something that's a step to getting to the answer? Okay, so let's have a look here. Ron earns $12 an hour on weekdays and twice as much on weekends. Now, you may well see very quickly that if he earns $12 an hour on weekdays, he must earn twice this or 2 times this, which is $24 an hour on weekends. But you could, if you wanted to, you could say this is, you could have weekdays, and then you could have, sorry, my system is lagging a bit. So weekends, okay, and we have to check, do we all know what weekdays and weekends are? So weekends, it does help you a bit by mentioning Saturdays and Sundays. So weekends are Saturdays and Sundays. Weekdays are the other 5 days, Monday through to Friday. You might normally go to school or work on such days. So we have 7 days a week. So 5 of them are weekdays, 2 of them are weekends. Okay, so on weekdays, Ron earns, and we have this amount here, and that's a 12, and we're told that he gets twice as much on weekends. We've drawn lots of models like this. Okay, that would represent this twice as much, and that would be 12, and that would be 12. So, of course, on weekends, he earns $24 per hour. Okay, so this is per hour. All right. You probably didn't need to do this, but it is something that you could have done. Okay. So we now know what he earns per hour on weekdays and what he earns per hour on weekends. Now, it says that he works 8 hours a day on weekdays, 5 hours a day on weekends, and we're asked how much will he earn in 2 weeks. Okay. Now, we can maybe think of a couple of ways to do this. We could calculate it week by week. How much does he earn in a week? And then multiply that by 2. So let's try that first. So we're going to do per week. Okay. And it's important to think per week, what have we got? So per week, we have 5 weekdays. Okay, and 2 weekend days. Okay, so let's look first at the weekdays. On the weekdays, it says he works 8 hours a day. All right, so we want to find out how many hours that is altogether. So 5 weekdays times 8 hours gives us 40 hours altogether. Okay, so that's 40 hours. And we need to calculate this separately from the weekend days because he earns a different amount of money per hour on weekdays than on weekends. Okay. We might as well keep on going with this. So 5 weekdays times 8 hours gives us 40 hours. He gets paid $12 an hour on weekdays. So we're going to do 40 hours times $12. and that gives us $480. Okay, so that's how much he earned in 1 week on the weekdays. How about on the weekends? Well, there's 2 weekend days. Okay, so 2 weekend days. How many hours does he do on the weekends? 5 hours per day. So it's this 5 times 8, 2 times 5. So that gives us 10 hours. All right. And so we want 10 hours times. Now he earns a different amount of money, twice the amount of money. So that's 24. And so that gives us, of course, $240 that he's earned on the weekends in 1 week. Right, so where are we? Well, we now know what he's earned. We need to add these two amounts together. Okay, so 480. So we want 480. We want to add 240. And what does that give us? Well, that is 720. Okay, so this is how much he earns in 1 week. Okay, but what are we asked for? We are asked for 2 weeks. So we need to do 720. We need to multiply that by 2. Okay, and we will get the answer 1,440. Okay, so that's how much he earns in then 2 weeks. So this is 2 weeks. You also, instead of doing it per week and multiplying it by 2, you could have decided to do all of the, you put the 2 weeks together. So this is 2 weeks. Okay. How many weekdays are there in 2 weeks? Well, there are 10 weekdays in 2 weeks. So 10 weekdays. Okay. Times how many hours he works per day on a weekday. That's 8 hours. Okay. Which gives us 80 hours. And you'll, of course, notice that 80 is twice 40, which is what you'd expect because this is 2 weeks. This is just 1 week. Okay. So then we're going to, you could have done then 80 times 12, right? Just like we had up here. And you are going to, if you do that, you will find that over the 2 weeks on the weekdays, he earned $960. Okay. Then we look at the weekends. We've got 2 weekend days in 1 week. So we must have 4 weekend days. Okay. We multiply that by the 5 hours that he works per weekend day, which gives us 20 hours. Okay. Then we have 20 hours times his hourly rate on a weekend, which is 24. And that will give us 480. Okay. Then we want to add these together because this is over the 2 weeks. We've got 960. We add 480. And what do you think we get? Well, we get the same amount, 1,440. Okay. We just did it here. We did it we calculated a whole week and multiplied that by 2. Here we calculated how many days were in 2 weeks and did it that way. Both ways are perfectly valid. They come to the same answer, of course. It just depends. Well, the crucial thing is to stay organized and make sure that you know what numbers refer to what, and, just keep checking your work and making sure that you are not skipping anything.